Hey, this is Coach Josh, and I'm recording here from my home office, drinking some bone broth at night after a long day of talking to people about their health and fitness goals. And I'm here in Portland, Oregon. And the significance of being in Portland is unclear to me because although I travel around to talk to people in different cities and attend conferences and things like that, I mostly function here in Portland. And um, over the last few years, I've been interviewing people about their health and fitness goals weekly. Many times a week, I'll talk to a new person to gauge their readiness for change, their willingness to enter into some sort of a coaching program. And I'm I'm shocked at the amount of people that have unclear definitions of health for themselves, and also in a much larger sense, just don't seem to have a sense of their own personal motivations, desires, and goals for themselves, their own personal standards. I think I've already said that, but um, I was talking with a person today, and asked I asked them some questions about their life and about their health history, and they were able to answer some things. And but oftentimes when I'm talking to somebody, am I'm finding that they are, or most people are, a little bit atrophied at listening to their own internal emotional stories about things. And so sometimes I have to ask a lot of questions, or sometimes we come back to it at another date, um, to learn about how people, um, what their motivation is, if it's pain motivation, if it's something they want, if they're even awake to their own personal suffering, whether they're overweight or they have an injury or their back hurts or their knee hurts or whatever. And um, that that could be due to a variety of reasons. But the purpose of this podcast is to, um, one, give and share my definition of health and what it is not, my definition of health is and is not, and to also just create like a frame of understanding for health and fitness that might be more useful for you in your own personal life moving forward. The people that listen to me or on my podcast or email list are people who are um, curious, people who are driven, who are dedicated to themselves and their families. And oftentimes, getting clarity is as simple as asking a different question and getting a different answer. So, when it comes to health, a lot of times people think health as being skinny or having six-pack abs or being really strong, or not, or maybe a little bit more precise, being free of disease or free of pain. And all of those things have elements of health into the right. The longevity movement, the longevity people, um, Dr. Peter Tia and many, many, many more doctors and a whole, orbit of the internet talk about longevity all the time. And a large part of your longevity is your ability to stay lean and have a lighter body weight. That seems to have less stress on the body's systems over time. So there's some elements of health to those things, but it's also strange because pain is kind of part of just having a body, like having aches and pains. If you sit still and watch TV all day, when you stand up, you'll be a little bit achy, especially if you're over 30. So a sedentary life will lead you to aches and pains. Also, a bicycle accident will lead you to aches and pains, and so will overtraining or even just training in general. When you're doing a progressive overload program or increasing your training volume, you're going to experience soreness and aches and pains. So being pain free isn't that valuable of a definition of health, nor is being skinny, right? So I look at health as having is a triangle with three points, and the health that gets probably Most of the attention is the aesthetic point, right? How you look in the mirror, your body composition, how much muscle, visible muscle you have, your fat content or lack thereof. And that's important. It certainly does matter for men, being 15% to 10% is pretty good. Your performance will be pretty decent at that level of body fat, and you don't have to weigh your food necessarily. If you're in the teens of body fat percentage and you lift, you like working out and you have protein with every meal, you can have a manageable body composition. Women, 19% would be pretty lean, 18%, 17% pretty lean. Um, that'd be hard to live your life at body weights or body compositions that lean, but 20% also pretty healthy, 21% just depends on who you are and your frame and how you carry your weight. Women, you're carrying a little bit more body fat in the form of butt and boobs. That tends to be acceptable on Instagram these days. So, uh, body, looks or aesthetics, body composition matters. But the part of the pyramid or the triangle that I find most rewarding is the part that has to do with performance. So your strength, your endurance, your energy, your focus, your stamina, your ability to do fun things. And I'm surprised at the amount of people that I talk to who don't talk about energy and focus and doing fun things, or just when you have more energy, everything is easier. When you have more endurance and stamina and mental capacity, everything that you do during the day is easier. So, for me, I spend most of my time in my life trying to maximize the performance end, right? I want to be stronger, faster. I want to have more endurance. Muscle and body composition matters, of course, as well. But I really don't like feeling tired. I really don't like feeling burned out. I really like feeling present and focused. And for me, that has to do with that part of the triangle. And so much of that is recovery, right? And it is nutrition. It's the things that you do outside of the gym that really make the most difference in that part of the pyramid. I mean, if you're going to get faster, you got to run and, you got to lift and do things like that. So it's really everything. It's a holistic triangle. Fitness and health is holistic. But the third part of the triangle is the part that everybody kind of worries the most about, which is like disease risk factors, like your, you know, risk factors for diabetes, heart disease, metabolic disease, neurological disease, those things that are going to impact your quality of life sooner or later. And we want that to be later, right? As late as possible. That's has somewhat to do with luck and somewhat to do with lifestyle and strategies and environment and the choices that we make about our careers and what we foods we let into our bodies and where we live, where we can live. So all of the triangle is important, but most importantly, and people don't like to think about it like this, but our health is a reflection of how much we love ourselves because our health outcomes are a result of the time and attention we've paid to our bodies, to our minds, to the quality of rest, the quality of work, and our overall physical quality of life, the quality of relationships, spending time with people that we love. All of these things have a direct impact on our health. And all of those things are a function of that time and attention, which is the currency of love that we give ourselves. So in Portland, I'm surprised at how many people that I talk to who don't give themselves hardly any love during the day. They spend some time numbing out, right? Scrolling on their phones, watching TV, drinking, using a substance to avoid an emotional state. But I don't think that when people are honest with themselves, they're giving themselves a lot of TLC, right? A lot of love, a lot of time and affection. And that is the ultimate decider of what our outcomes are. So, my definition of health, how much you love yourself, right? And measured by the the three-headed pyramid. The no pyramid has the triangle, three parts of the triangle, the 3 points of the triangle. That creates our, or those are our health outcomes. And those are the inputs to that are the amount of time we pay to our food, our rest, our relationships, our exercise, and things of that nature. So, all right, it's my definition of health. This is a quiet podcast about healing.